Do I need more light? I think I need more light. Let's see. There. Okay. I wanted to do a video about my current feelings. It's December 1st, 2023. And I'm taking care of a cat, one sweet, cuddly cat and one very shy cat, and I'm feeding them both. And I'm thinking about self-respect and self-love and how, forgive me for not looking into the camera. I just feel like looking off into space. One of the reasons why I love being an art model is that it's appropriate for me to actually sit still and stare off into space and then let people draw me and paint me, um, draw and paint from my pose that I'm doing in front of them, I should say. And usually when you have a job, if you stare off into space and you don't say anything, it's not looked upon as something good. But when you're an art model, it is a good thing when that's what you're supposed to do. But I was thinking about self-love, and I did my recent art show. My paintings were in an art auction, and my poetry reading was at Fantagraphics in Seattle. And I mean, it was a release party for another person's comic book, but I was like a special guest invited to. I did an illustration and I read poetry, and I was just thinking about spoken word. And one of my poems, I say, "Narcissistic dear, steer clear of the mirror. You're so immature." And then I say something about self abandonment got me stranded again, polluted and uprooted. And there's this idea that, and honestly, there's people in my family who accuse other people in my family of being a narcissist. And I sometimes feel like that's an honest, heartfelt expression of somebody who feels wounded and traumatized by somebody who seems self-centered. But sometimes people use each other as scapegoats, and sometimes when we ourselves are extremely self-involved in a way that is maybe going a little too far, because humans want to protect themselves and humans want to feel safe. And if you're a little kid raised by a parent who might be on the narcissism spectrum, then as a little kid, you learn to be self-defensive and guarded in a certain way, or maybe you learn to mimic your parents and you're also self-involved. And so I don't want to get too deep in trying to figure out all of my family challenges, but I will say that one of the criticisms that I have received that bothers me the most is when people accuse me of being a narcissist in terms of my Goddess KRING videos and my artwork, because my TV show was on Seattle Public Access every week for 15 years, and it was just me talking into the camera. And I find it very cathartic and therapeutic to sit and record myself and talk into the camera. It feels like a luxury, and I feel like I'm having quality time with myself, and yet I feel compelled to share it and record it. I listen to what I record back to try to learn something about myself, and I also listen to the feedback I receive from people in the audience. So I'm all about this, like, part of me wants to just stay fully present and be in the year 2023 and not concern myself with all of the over 700 videos I made. And when I say that, I'm not trying to brag that I made over 700 videos. I'm just acknowledging the effort that I put into all of that, because there's times actually when I discount, I go, yeah, well, big whoop-de-doo. Like, so what? I did that. Who cares? Now what am I doing? And it's like, okay, on one hand, it's good to drop the past, open porthole waits. It's good to be, see, now I'm being all vain and thinking, oh, I need to look better. I'm wearing my Edie Brickell t-shirt. Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. I got this t-shirt recently. That's one of my favorite bands, Edie Brickell, the New Bohemians. I like her solo work as well as that work. And then I've got my Tom Petty, who widens my jetty button on. And then I've got Fantasy Egg, It's a Mattress, about the Black autistic rapper, an independent Seattle film. I think they're in Baltimore right now screening it. They're on a big epic adventure, epic journey. So, and I'm friends with them and maybe we'll work more with them. But let's just say that that's what I'm wearing right now. And so I'll be vain and take my hair. Let's take my hair down. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. So this is what my hair looks like when I first get up in the morning and I haven't even brushed it. But my naturally curly hair is like, yeah. But what I was gonna say was, okay, see, now I'm getting all confused. Is that narcissism for me to, but no, because I'm a model. I'm a model and an actor. So it's important for me. My brain is all over the place. Apparently, I'm on the autism spectrum. I've been assessed for it officially, and because of the rigidity of something about my brain is rigid, and yet I'm very flexible. I'm probably ADHD mixed with autism, but um, there's a chaoticness in my brain. But I'm a good actor. I literally am paid to role play with medical students. They give me a script and I act out aches and pains. And yesterday I was given some constructive feedback encouraging me that I really do a good job when I act with medical students as a patient, and then they have to practice talking with me in a professional way, and they have to kind of balance building empathy and rapport with diagnosing, having diagnostic, um, what do you call it? Differential, what do they say? They have to come up with 2 or 3 things that they think might be wrong with certain aches and pains that I show up, as a fake patient and I role play aches and pains and a whole life history and family history and current lifestyle choices. And I acted out and they said I'm really good at improvisational acting. I'm good at fusing, like if I was literally hired to be in a movie, what I would do is, I guess that's method acting. I would take the real me and mix it with the character. So I would be as authentic as possible. And if the character was extremely different than the real me, then I would find a bridge. I would find something about myself that would be similar to the character that I'm playing in the movie. And I would play it as authentically as I could. I think it was Robert De Niro who said that when he plays a so-called schmuck, in other words, when he plays a guy that's kind of a jerk and that is kind of a villain that people are not supposed to, you're supposed to think he's kind of a bad guy. He says that he can't play it thinking that he's a bad guy. He has to play the character imagining he was really that guy and that, even if you're a jerk, you love yourself. which which is interesting. So to have empathy. And actually, the best actors are the ones who can play a villain or a hero, and you have empathy for them. That's why I love the movie Joker so much, because it's like that's what makes it so disturbing. Is it's kind of, I think of Joker as a dark comedy, but about how messed up our culture is, and the challenges of mental illness that people have, but and the fact that it takes a whole village to create a healthy person, but it also takes a whole village to help create an unhealthy person, in my opinion. So, which brings me back to the theme. I'm trying to stay on topic. See, people accuse me of being off topic, and it might be because of my autism. My brain is very chaotic and disorganized, and I don't remember the chronological order of things that I do. Or when I watch a movie, I can understand the plot when I'm watching the movie, but as soon as the movie's over, I might actually forget what order things happened in, and I just remember the overall message and the metaphor of the story, but I might not remember all the characters' names, and I might not remember the exact chronological order of all the things that happen in the plot. And the other day with my friend, I said, leftovers from tomorrow, which that's like dyslexia. Like I was thinking about leftovers, which obviously leftovers are from yesterday. There can be no such thing as a leftover from tomorrow. So I thought, well, that would be a good line in a poem, leftovers from tomorrow. I want to do a poetry book. I want to publish a Shannon Kringen, Goddess Kring Speak poetry book. My friend actually helped me organize some of my poems that I lost track of that I had typed out. So I want to talk about narcissism, and I want to talk about and how important it is to love yourself, to love and respect yourself, and how that's different than being narcissistic. But now I'm losing my train of thought. I'm working on the Goddess Kring archive project, which is to take all of my videos from the past, over 700 videos that I have from the Goddess Kring TV show that I created. And I got some really inexpensive used VCRs because my current VCR, we're trying to fix it. We have to unscrew it and try to clean it with alcohol. But my friend said, don't use regular alcohol, rubbing alcohol, use a special kind of alcohol that won't damage the electronic equipment. So we're in the process of archiving Goddess Kring videos. The ones where I'm wearing clothing, I can share on YouTube. But we still have to edit out some of the copywritten music. I have 32 tracks of my own music that I can use on top of the copywritten music. So my friend and I are working on editing out and muting out the copywritten music and then adding my own original music. And then we're working on digitizing all the videos as they are, but the ones where I'm not wearing any clothing, we can digitize, we can blur out or put funny stickers, like, you know, amusing funny stickers on the bikini area, top and bottom of the bikini area of the torso, since we can't really share that everywhere. And I'm trying to figure out how to archive that and start working on a new documentary about the Goddess Kring TV show and interview people who appreciated what I did, or if we can find people who were critical of what I did, but they're willing to talk on camera in an intelligent way about it, they can feel free to critique it and say, you know, this is the dark side of what she did, or this is why it upset me or disturbed me or whatever. Because I will say, I am disturbed by I've watched some of my old shows, and some of them I'm like, wow, I'm really proud that I did this. Like I did some interesting philosophical improv monologues about philosophy and wisdom of how to live. I was very self-reflective, self-aware, but then I was also very moody and a bit self-destructive and critical of myself and other people. And then I look into the camera and go, I'm critical of you and me both. And oh, here comes the sun. I'm honest about that. Okay, now the lighting's getting really weird. I'm honest about that. I'm honest about just forgive me for having imperfect lighting. Do you know that being a perfectionist actually can slow people down? There's people in my life that are creative people, and their perfectionism has stopped them from fully, like, it's good. Okay, it's good to do your best and not just do any old thing and just throw it out there. Like sometimes I am the opposite of a perfectionist because I've witnessed people that are really uptight and perfectionistic, and they won't publish their art unless they think it's good enough or perfect enough. But then the problem with that is that sometimes you might never then publish it because you might just keep working on it and working on it and working on it and editing it or procrastinating, thinking about it. but never think it's good enough to release to the public. And so I honestly would rather put out a crappy piece of art than not any art at all. But the best is the happy medium. The best is when the most successful artists, in my opinion, and by success, I don't mean being wealthy and famous. I mean that to me, success in the art world means that you create your art, whether it's music or visual art or acting or dance, any kind of writing, any kind of creative writing, acting, singing, dancing, painting, drawing, all the different visual and performing arts. That's a huge spectrum of creative work. Success is when you do your best and you create something and then you publish it. To me, success means you publish it. Some people don't think it matters if you publish it or not, you just keep it to yourself. But I am very much motivated by wanting to publish. I want to take all my best poems and publish them into a book. I need to learn how to make a PDF file, and then you can print your own book, print on demand. And I would like to buy a copy of my own book and then offer it for sale for anybody who wants to buy it, knowing that maybe not that many people will be interested. I did sell about 30 copies of my Art Identity in the Sacred book. It's still available on blurb.com. You can still buy it. It's it's a print on demand book. It's very expensive because it's like, I think it's like $85 with shipping or something. It's like a 125 page double, sided full color hardback book of my Art Identity in the Sacred, which is my photography and my philosophy about my art being my spiritual practice. In other words, when I say spiritual practice, I mean spirituality to me is that which, like, I'm an individual human on this planet, and that which is beyond my individual self is my spirituality. That which connects me to the other people, plants, animals, the whole ecosystem, the whole universe, the whole earth. My spirituality is based on me feeling me as an individual human being connected to the whole universe. So spirituality is almost like the invisible energy that connects, because we all seem to be separate individuals, plants, animals, people. We all seem separate, and yet we're all in this together. Everything we do creates ripple effect, and we all affect each other in a positive or negative or neutral way. So I'm interested in, I do apologize for the weird lighting, but being a non-perfectionist, I guess I'm recording this. I think nobody's really here with me. I'm on a live stream right now. I'm recording this, but I'm talking about narcissism. My brain is really disjointed. I've been working for several days in a row. I work as an art model, a medical model, a pet sitter, a dog walker, and I'm doing my own art. I'm involved in, I'm going to model in the Gage Academy of Fine Art Drawing Jam on Saturday, December 2nd, 2023. I'm going to be posing in a costume for that. And I'm also working on getting my best poems together. I would love to have my dad has written, I think he says he's written folk music and comedy. I would love to convince my dad to publish his song lyrics and publish his poetry, but he may or may not want to do that. I personally want to publish my own poetry. I've never made a poetry book that's published before. I've just mostly shared it online for the last 20 some years, shared it on all my different websites. I probably have maybe gone a little too far because I've been around people that are perfectionistic to the point where they don't fully publish their work because they're still working on it, trying to make sure it's good enough to publish. Maybe I've gone too far in the other direction and I show the public some of my rough drafts. I think that some of my photography, some of my painting, some of my Goddess KRING TV shows, videos, video monologues are very, very good. Like some of the stuff I've done is extremely, I think, my best, really well crafted art. And some of it is sloppy. Some of it is, I put my heart and soul into it, but some of it is kind of sloppy. And I'm like very ADHD and OCD. So I like hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Like I'm constantly creating. I'm constantly um creating. I write in my journal, I write rhymes that pop into my head, I write poems, I paint, I do video monologues, I play the piano. I want to learn more piano. I want to do a lot. And I don't know if I can organize how to do all of this, but I want to make a feature length documentary film about the Goddess KRING TV show that I did and how it affected the audience and how they affected me and I affected them. Some kind of inspirational movie about that. Um, I want to publish my poetry. I'm working on helping my dad record his folk music with a friend of mine from Interactive Jack Records, Dave Flowers from Interactive Jack Records. We're working on that together. We're working on recording our own music, Dave Flowers and I, and the whole. There's a story of Goddess KRING song. There's a song we did called Banana Split. It's on Bandcamp. Banana Split and The Story of Goddess KRING. Those are two songs we did that I like. And we did a few other songs too that are more not as catchy. But we did two songs that you can sing along with, and they're more catchy. I've always wanted to take my poetry and turn it into music. I don't read a lot of poetry, although I love poets. I listen to music. The way I get my poetry is I listen to music, and I love to listen to music and song lyrics, and I really pay attention to the song lyrics. So the Goddess KRING Archive Project. Okay, now narcissism. I was supposed to be focusing on talking about narcissism. Every time I do a video, I just do an improv monologue. I can't really stay on topic. And so that's what I was going to say is that maybe that's my autism. When people say I'm off topic, I like go off on a tangent. I also notice when I watch back these videos of monologues that I'm very repetitive. I'm repetitive. I'm repetitive. I'm repetitive. I am repetitive. I feel like I have to say something 3 times. Am I, uh, maybe I'm wondering if you, the audience, are actually listening to me. But the irony is that if you repeat yourself too much, people probably get bored or wonder why I'm being so repetitive. And I notice I do that with friends. I've said I've been repetitive with friends, and then a friend of mine has also repetitive. I think we're both on the spectrum, but okay, there goes my alert. So I need to get ready for my role play with medical students soon. So basically, it's December 1st, 2023. This is Shannon Kringen, Goddess KRING. You can go to my website. I have a Patreon. You can like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want. I'm happy about that. And I am thinking about the concept of narcissism versus self-love, and to love and respect yourself the way that you would love and respect somebody else. Like having basic love. Our culture does not really encourage us to love ourselves. We are sort of taught that that is selfish, that it's some kind of arrogance. But to criticize and put yourself down is not helpful and not useful. It doesn't help other people. If I'm really hard on myself, in other words, it doesn't really help other people. If I'm mean to myself, does that help other people? No. If I'm nice to myself, like if you're selfish to the point where you ignore other people and you just focused on yourself and you are oblivious to how you affect other people. I guess that's what narcissism would be in a negative way. But if you actually love yourself and have self confidence, that's not narcissism. That's basic, decent self esteem and self respect. And I'm trying to figure out because the criticism I get the most is that I'm narcissistic. That bothers me the most. I mean, people have said I'm crazy, like you're crazy, you're a train wreck, you're nutcase KRING, you're crazy, you're on drugs. I'm not even on drugs, but who cares? I'm not judging people that do drugs. I'm personally not into doing drugs. I think drug addiction is a serious thing, and I think people deserve compassion and empathy when they have a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction or whatever. I personally don't like alcohol, and I've never smoked cigarettes. I don't even smoke marijuana. Everyone thinks I do. I'm just not into it. But I've recently had a psychedelic experience that leads me to wonder or leads me to understand why some people think that I was on some kind of psychedelic type drug. Um, but I'm not. But when I look at tree branches, I've always thought they looked magical. And now that I've had a certain psychedelic experience for the first time ever in my 50s, I understand, like, wow, now I get it, because I can already stare without any substance, just my own mind. I can just stare at tree branches and ripples in a mud puddle, or ripples on the water. This when the sun shines and it's all sparkly on a lake or a river, I already like trip out, like so-called trip out on the shapes and the infinite intricate patterns I see in nature. I already love that. I already feel hypnotized, basically. I feel hypnotized by the patterns I see in nature. And when I do my abstract paintings, I'm very much inspired by the shapes I see in nature. So I already feel like I'm a pattern recognizer. I recognize patterns. I'm not really good at organizing in a chronological, alphabetical way, and yet I see the patterns, I see the big picture, and I can look at details. I can focus on details and the big picture and the patterns that I see, and I'm very intuitive. So these are some of the things I'm good at, but I'm kind of disorganized. I'm totally disorganized in one way, and yet I manage to somehow I write it all in my little paper calendar. I don't have a digital calendar. I have a paper calendar with a pen. I write everything down, and I manage to pet sit, dog walk. I work at a bunch of different art schools, a bunch of different medical schools. Um, I've sold some of my art. I have a couple subscription websites where I have members and I update with artistic content. I managed to keep all of that. I somehow do all of that. I'm sort of juggling a lot. My apartment tends to be pretty messy. I'm always trying to keep myself more organized. And at the same time, I love to be surrounded with art supplies, and I have costumes and clothes and sequins and face paint and body paint and acrylic paint and canvases and journals that I write in. I love to write in my journal. I love to paint. I love to make videos. I love to play the piano. I like to write poetry. I mean, I do so many different things. And then I think, okay, well, I should pick one thing and focus more on that. And instead, I'm just constantly catch the wind song, spiral, drive, crack the code, left and right note. So these are aligned. That's a line in one of my poems. So I just am constantly doing things like that. So just wanted to say that it's important to love yourself, and not in an arrogant way, but and I guess that's just basic common sense, to have self-respect and self-love. The way you would love and respect another person, you could love yourself. Instead of again, instead of being arrogant or beating yourself up. So maybe that's really what narcissism is when you're extremely arrogant and you don't realize it, or you beat yourself up and you're extremely mean and you create a lot of drama. If you're constantly putting yourself down and creating a lot of drama and playing the role of a victim, that could be a self-centered thing that could drag other people down. But I've probably done all of those things. But then I think at my best, because when I take photos of myself, I love self-portraits. I like it when other artists do self-portraits because I love to do self-portraits. I feel like an actor. When I photograph myself and I look different in every single photo, I look like a different person. So people have told me I look like different people in different photos. I'm like a shapeshifter or something. And I love that the concept of amplified chameleon getting her dreams on. Amplified chameleon getting her dreams on. That's one line in one of my poems. I love the idea of just self-expression and inspiring. I love the idea of inspiring other people. I hope that I inspire you, whoever's watching this. If anybody's watching this, Shannon, I'm definitely going to watch you, Shannon. Shannon, I'm going to watch your video, Shannon. So hopefully somebody's getting something out of this video, but it feels good to express myself. So I'm just expressing myself here. So thanks for listening. So I'll see you next time. This is Shannon Kringen, Goddess KRING, signing off. Time for me to go work with medical students and do a role play, continue taking care of the kitties and the dogs that I'm taking care of, continue with my art modeling, continue with the music and video and art, painting and drawing and photography and all the different things I do. My main website is shannonkringen.com. It's a bit disorganized, but if you just go to shannonkringen.com or you Google Goddess KRING Shannon Kringen, you'll find I have 5 different blogs, and I have this YouTube channel, and I'm just all over the place, and I love to share my work with people, and I love the idea of doing more open mics or live performances or doing more acting. But really, I want to focus on publishing a book of my poems, Kring Speak, and working on the full length feature documentary, The Goddess KRING, and interview people in the audience who enjoy what I do or can say intelligent, you can critique me on camera if you want, if it's intelligent and articulate and not rude. And if it's just like a constructive criticism type statement, a critique. Yeah. I think that a lot of my biggest fans are people that are about 10 years younger than me, people that were born in like 1978. They seem to be the people that come up to me and tell me how much I helped them through their teenage years. I got an email the other day from somebody who said they saw me on a certain freeway and that I helped them through their teenage years. And he said, "Thank you for helping me through my teenage years. I got through some rough times and your show helped me." And I'm like, wow, that I'm happy to know. It didn't occur to me that people 10 years younger than me would be watching. Like when I was in my 20s, they were a teenager watching me and being very impressionistically affected by what I was saying and doing. So I think sometimes I was dramatic in a disturbing way, but I think mostly what my Goddess Kring show was a more positive, philosophical, creative experiment, improvisational monologue, poetry, body paint, love your body, accept yourself as a natural human. That's my main message, is to be yourself and accept yourself and love yourself, forgive yourself, appreciate other people for how different they are. I mean, everyone is an individual. We're all just different individuals, and yet we're all in this together in some way. How do we figure that? How do we navigate that? To me, that's my spiritual path as well. Is how can I be my full individual, unique self and get along with other people who are also their totally unique individual selves? So that's the whole Goddess Kring in a nutshell. Yeah. So I'll just keep working on it. Keep working on it. Yeah, because I'm a little overwhelmed when I think about making a full-length feature documentary about the Goddess Kring, but I wanna try to do it. It's the biggest project that I've ever done in my entire life, so it involves, going through about 700 videos, digitizing, focusing on the best episodes, editing, splicing clips together, filming new clips of current life for the Goddess Kring, and then looking back at the previous Goddess Kring clips, and then interviewing fans, having somebody ask me interesting questions on camera. Maybe me and a friend of mine can ask each other back and forth questions that are interesting and provocative. Somehow splice that together, and the soundtrack will be music of mine, instrumental as well as poetry type music. My friend Dave Flowers is a musician. He said he would help me figure out how to score the movie. He does really beautiful synthesizer instrumental. So I have the ability to, with all my creative friends and myself and my own creative talent, I have the ability to make, I think, a pretty interesting documentary film and then figure out how many minutes it should be and then figure out where to screen it or show it. Even if it's mostly streamed online, but I would love to get it in the theaters. I'm really inspired by watching the success of Fantasy A Gets a Mattress. They spent 4 years making that film. It's about a Black autistic rapper in Seattle. It's a comedy, but it's about very serious topics about struggling in Seattle, a very expensive city, and autism and having, neurodivergence, and with lots of eccentric people that are struggling to figure out how to survive in a, competitive, tough environment, and it's a comedy about very serious topics, and, it's inspiring to see their success. And I'm friends with some of those people and have worked with them on a public service announcement. The Fantasy Egg It's a Mattress crew people, thank you so much for wanting to work with Goddess Kring, and would love to continue being involved in projects that they're involved with and or help promote them. And it's a win-win situation when artists, instead of being competitive and full of their own ego, and sometimes people get competitive and jealous with each other, and that kind of takes all the fun out of being creative. If we're all competitive and jealous or envious, that's not very fun. It's more fun to encourage each other. And like there's an acting class that I took, and one of my favorite assignments was yes, and you do improv and you say a skit idea, you pretend like you're in an ice cream parlor, and then the other person goes, freeze, and then your attitude is yes, and then you can morph it into a different scene. So your attitude is building on, instead of criticizing and saying no, you encourage and you say yes, and oh, that's an interesting idea, yes, and then you build on that idea and you create that way with other people or with yourself. Like if you have an idea and you're writing a poem and you don't think it's good enough, it's better to just relax. Like my best poems are written when I'm relaxed and I just sort of let myself come up with interesting rhymes. If I'm overly critical of myself, it stops me from creating a poem. But if I just let it flow, then that works better. Okay, so there. Thanks for listening. Bye for now. Okay. This is Shannon Kringen, Goddess KRING. Okay, I got, oh my God, 35 minutes. I rambled on for 35 minutes, which is funny because some people think I'm so quiet and so shy. And yet when I'm alone with my camera, I'm like, woo, 35 minutes. Okay. Okay, have a good day, everyone. Shannon Kringen, Goddess KRING saying, be yourself no matter what they say. That's a line from a Sting song I love called Englishman in New York. I love that song, Englishman in New York. Be yourself no matter what they say. So there you go. End stream. Shannon Kringen, Goddess KRING signing off. I'm repetitive. I'm repetitive. I'm repetitive. Ah!